Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Coming Out Late. I'm so glad that you're here. Tonight, I'm going to be interviewing a friend of mine named Dee, and she's going to tell us her coming out story. Before I introduce Dee, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what this channel is about. All of us have different stories, but one thing that we all have in common is that we had to come out. And so we talk about things like that on this channel. We do interviews on this channel, and I am looking for other people to interview. Dee tonight is actually my last scheduled interview I have. So if you're interested in being interviewed, you can message me at comingoutLate@yahoo.com or go to my Instagram, which is coming.out.late, and message me there, and I'll be glad to schedule an interview for you. Also, we are going to be doing panel discussions on various topics that deal with coming out late in life. So I hope you will join us again. Be sure and hit the little icon in the bottom right hand of your screen if you're watching later after the live to subscribe, and be sure you hit the bell so be notified the next time I go live or upload a video. And right now I'd like to welcome Craig Landshark Picker. It's his first time in the side chat. Welcome, Craig. And I'm going to go ahead and put Dee up on the screen. Oops, we need to have two of us, so hold on. There we go. Hi, Dee. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming. I met Dee about probably 2 years ago through her YouTube channel. And Dee is like one of the most amazing people. And outside of reselling, I have found Dee to be one of the most honest, caring people on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to her, be sure and go to her YouTube channel, just Flippin' Particles, and talk to Dee, get to know her. She's a great person, and I am so glad that you offered to come on tonight and talk about your story. So before I ask any questions, hi, Dawn. Dawn's here. Thank you for joining,
I have the
Dawn.
appropriate hat today.
Yes, you do. And I love your background, your light up background. That is so cool. I'm not going to ask any questions right now. What I'm going to do, Dee, is just let you start from the beginning or wherever you want. Tell us your story. And then when you're done, I'll just fill in the blanks with questions. And then people in the side chat can ask you questions if you're okay with that. And so we're going to.
I don't really have much of a story. It's just, I grew up and that's it. But when I was a kid, I was like super tomboy. I did, I always wanted, play sports and tear around on a mini bike and stuff like that. And I didn't like doing, playing with dolls and stuff like that. I never did. And my mom accepted it for the most part. She would like buy me the clothes that I wanted to wear, and didn't mind me not wanting dolls and stuff like that. But in the back of her mind, I'm sure she was bothered because it came out later. It came out later that she was bothered by me. But on the other hand, back in the 70s and the 80s, I didn't know any gay people. So high school was just like, I don't know. I didn't date. I had friends, but I was always pretty shy. So I didn't, I got along with everybody. So in how in high school they always like go off into little groups. I tried to like everybody, and I never understood when people would like make fun of others for any reason, because I was always like open and accepting to everybody, like no matter their race or whatever. But I really didn't know any gay people anyway in high school at all. There's one guy maybe that people talked about, but nobody really talked about it anyway. So, but I was a weirdo because I never dated anybody. Except once when I was about 12, which was what, 6th grade, we had a kissing party at a friend's house. but that's about it. Um, so by the time I graduated high school, well, there there's a lot of tumultuous happenings in my teenage years because I didn't really get along with my parents, my mother and my stepdad, I should say. Um, and I ended up getting kicked out of the house before I graduated. So I had my own apartment when I was 17, my last year of high school. And that's basically where I just started. That's probably about the time where I started drinking a lot. In the 20s weren't so bad, but late 20s were pretty bad actually. But you know, and that's what I was that's what the drinking was trying to cover up you know self medicate, I guess, because I didn't know who I was. I couldn't decide. um I couldn't figure out what to do with myself. um People accused me of being a gay person, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just me. I'm just like nothing, because I wasn't dating anybody. I would get drunk and probably sometimes get drunk and have sex with people, but that's a different. That was just, it wasn't dating, right?
Hmm.
Um, I mean, that's getting drunk is how I had got a little bit of human contact, I guess, with another person. But I don't know. So I didn't really come out until after I got sober, and that was when I was 33. Um, but from my whole adult life I was pretty much alone. I did have one male boyfriend for it was less than a year, but he was a friggin' crackhead. Um and I finally, got sick of that crap and kicked him out. But and and I think I just wanted him there for somebody to be there, right? Because I really didn't like him because he was an idiot and a crackhead, but he was there.
Hmm.
He showed up. But so I got sober at 33. Well, actually, before that, when I was 27, I ended up getting pregnant by I do not know who because I was drunk. It was a one night stand, and I was like in a blackout. So that's um, but it was also the best thing that ever happened to me. Um, I did stay sober for the first few years of her life because I was like taking care of her. She was my total focus. And She was complete and total focus. I hardly ever went out at all. And But then I lost my daycare because I was working full time and I had a daycare person for her. And one day I went to drop her off and she says, "My husband said I can't do this anymore, so here you go." And I'm like, "What? What? What the hell am I supposed to do?" So I ended up taking her to my grandma's, and she would stay at my grandma's house all week. And so that's when I started drinking again, and it got pretty bad. And then I got arrested when I was 33, and that's when I got sober. And it still took a little time after getting sober, to finally accept who I was and start coming out to other people. Um, but I also looked at it as trying to be my authentic self because I was trying to change who I was to, to be a better person. And that included being completely honest and authentic about who I was. Um, because it's not like I guess it's hard to explain. Because rather than trying to be who I was, I just stayed alone, you know. Um, for a very, very, very long time. But Shelby was like, yeah. But Shelby was a real light in my life, I guess, because she did keep me sober for a long time. But uh, yeah, I don't know how. I don't know how to tell my story because it's just not very interesting. You
Oh,
know.
I think it is.
I never really came out to people. I just like, hey, this is my girlfriend. You know.
Okay.
I didn't sit people down and say, this is me. This is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I
Kind
didn't. Well, let me take that back. Because when I first got sober, I was also going to a therapist, and I started with telling him that I might be bisexual. You know, because you kind of do it in steps, and then I did come out to my sponsor. She was my sponsor for. Here comes Tilly.
of.
She's my sponsor for the whole time I was sober until she moved away. But when I came out to her, she thought I was telling her I loved her. And I'm like, what?
God.
That is
Well, you
not
know,
what I was doing.
some people do fall in love with their therapist.
No, it wasn't the therapist. It was my my AA
Oh,
sponsor.
yeah, your sponsor. Okay. Some people do fall in love with their sponsors.
And that's not what it was at all. I was
Yeah.
trying to come out to her, and she thought I was trying to tell her that I was in love with her, and that's not what I was. So devastated and so embarrassed. I didn't talk to her for like 3 months.
Did you set her right on that?
I don't even remember. I was so upset, you know.
Gosh.
So there's another good reason not to come out to people like that, you know. So, but I basically didn't either. I never literally sat my mother down and told her, you know. I just showed up with my girlfriends, you know. I say girlfriends like I had a lot. I didn't, but you know, because my mom is a different kind of character. You know, she's very I want to be careful with my words here, but she's very religious for one thing, and so she had, I don't know, she acts like she accepts my relationship and my marriage to Linda, but she doesn't really, you know. Because she didn't come to our party when we got married, which really pissed me off. But my mom's a different kind of person anyway, because she always goes through the cycle of not talking to one of her kids, you know. She gets mad about something and you don't talk to her for like the last time it was me is because I took in she adopted a couple kids several years ago, and the last one she came out to her, and it was a big old fight, and she kicked her out. So she ended up moving in with me. So my mom didn't talk to me for a couple years because
Okay.
of that.
I was wondering who that was. I didn't know the story behind that.
It was
So I knew
my
someone was living with you. I
adopted,
just didn't know the
yeah. I guess she's
relation.
my adopted sister, but
Yeah.
no, I think it's weird that calling her sister, but because you know, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not very. Well, that didn't really work out anyway. I was glad when she was like old enough to move out. Donna says awkward. Yeah, awkward is for sure. I'm always awkward though. But so yeah, I don't think I could really say I have a coming out story because I really didn't do it. I just like decided to be who I was and try to be more authentic, my authentic self, and I still have to work on it sometimes, because and that's what it's all about for me, right? That's why I have the sign up there. Um, um Stay authentic, That's
So you want to fast forward a little bit and talk about how you met Linda?
sure. Well, I
That's a
I
happy story.
I didn't have a lot of relationships. I had a, uh one long-term girlfriend, but we ended up breaking up because she met somebody else, and then I dated a couple people, but that was it. And then Linda was just like somebody that was in a circle of friends that I hung around with occasionally, did things with, and one time I just asked her if she wanted to, go to lunch, and that was basically it. We just started like hanging out and doing things together, and that's all she wrote. It's pretty
That's
simple.
awesome.
Linda's always trying to make up a better story for it, a more interesting story.
So how long have you been together?
Since I guess it's been about 9 years.
Wow.
2011, I believe it was.
Are, are you legally married?
Yes, we got married in 2015. Um, the funny thing is they legalized marriage here, and when they did it, did she go to bed? Did she walk by back there?
I didn't see
Um,
her.
um, and as
I'm
soon as
muting
they did,
myself because my dog keeps barking.
as soon as they legalized marriage here in Michigan, they there's the county clerk was at the UU church in town doing marriage licenses, and I said, so you want to go to the UU and get married? And she said, no, I wouldn't want people to think we're pregnant.
So that she's got a great sense of humor.
So yeah, so we waited because that only happened for a few hours because the at the time Michigan had a Republican attorney general, and he shut it down after a few hours. So we had to go. They had to go to the process of going to the courts, and then it was fully legalized. So we got married at a music festival in the woods in 2015, and we go there every year. We have been going every year since almost every year since we've been together, and that's why we got married there, and we celebrate our anniversary, of course, every time we go, every year when we go. But this year, it's canceled. So it's a nice story, simple. Yeah, I'm. That's what I am, simple.
I have a couple of questions for you. You ready? Hi,
Yeah,
Sally. Sally, sure. I want to go back and say hello to a couple of people. I noticed Jennifer's here. Thank you so much for joining, Jennifer
I'll be
and
right back.
Sally. And
Say hello. I'm gonna go. Say good night.
okay, Rita. Hi, Rita. Thank you for coming. And we're just gonna wait. Hey, Maggie. Wait. I'm so glad you're here, Maggie. I think, are you my only moderator tonight? Yeah. Okay, so Maggie, you need to do it all. So we're gonna just wait for Dee to say goodnight to her wife. I've never had a guest just leave the show before. This is cool. So anyway. Lane Sharp Picker, everyone has a story to tell, regardless what it's about. Our stories make us who we are. That's right. And Jennifer, I'm also proud of you for staying sober. You go, girl.
You're coughing.
For those of you who have just joined us, this is my last interview on this channel that I have scheduled. So if you know someone who would like to come on and be interviewed, please just have them get a hold of me. And I'm having a message here right now. So I'm going to tell someone my live stream is on. All right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the notifications didn't go out. That's like the second person that asked me if I'm having a show tonight. So, okay. So, some of the questions I had for you. What year did you graduate high school?
1982.
Okay, so you're like 2 years behind me. I graduated at 80. And so you said you only knew like one other person in high school that was gay.
Well, just I didn't really know him. Just people talked about him, of course.
Yeah.
You know.
So we come from the old school where you just didn't talk about it. So,
Well, I didn't know anybody, so
mhm,
and
mhm,
so I don't know.
yeah. Um, so I know your mother's religious now. Did you grow up in a religious family? And
Well, yeah.
was it kind of put down your throat?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Uh,
Like drag me by my ear. Well, first put a freaking dress on me, and then drag me by my ear to church.
mhm.
And she also made us do the
Was it a fire and brimstone type of church?
That's what I mean. That's all. That's what I recall. I didn't ever see it as a
Mhm,
happy place. Because it seems like the
mhm,
whole time I was there, they were talking about revelations. So
mhm,
that's
mhm,
what it seemed like anyway. But I don't know. It was a Lutheran church. It was like the real fundamental
mhm,
Lutheran.
mhm.
So
So
no, I am
I
not religious now. I have tried many times to be a church goer and to be accepted into other different churches, and it never works out. I mean, I've been hurt by churches so many times, so I guess you can call me.
mhm,
I, I guess the only thing you can call me now is an atheist, and I'm
okay.
not ashamed of it. So,
Mhm.
uh,
I always ask this from my guests. Do you remember when you first had a feeling that something was different about you as far as your sexuality?
well, I didn't
Like how
see it
old
as
you were?
sexuality. I didn't feel it as a sexuality weirdness. It was just pure just plain weird because I was always doing different things than my friends. I wanted to play with the boys. I
Mhm,
wanted to play football, and we had a little baseball diamond at the we lived on a cul-de-sac, and we had a little baseball diamond, and I was always out there running around it, and playing football with the boys. So I was always
mhm,
different, but I didn't see it as a sexuality thing.
right.
Um, and I don't know, and I just never, even though I dated some people as in my young adulthood, I never felt like I was connected to anyone. But I really didn't know what was happening. I mean, why either?
Mhm,
I guess until I kissed a girl, you know.
right. Oh, well, that's what happened to me. Like I didn't get it, and because I dated all through high school guys, but I never really felt anything. I couldn't understand what the big deal was, you know. And then
Yeah.
when I met her, I was like, "Oh, now this is what it's supposed to feel like." Okay, got it. But this is different. I'm not supposed to be doing this. So, um, you talked about the drinking. So when you were drinking the first time, you said that was because were you hiding who you were, or you were just lonely? Can't remember how you
Well,
put it.
probably a little bit of everything, but I was also chasing that buzz, because the first time I um the first time I drank, it was like amazing. It was a great buzz, and then this is what happens to drug addicts too. They take their drug of choice and they have this fantastic experience, and then they spend the rest of their life chasing that feeling that never comes back. You know,
Mhm. Right.
and that's basically what alcohol was for me. and also self-medicating because I just had a lot of pain that I was trying to cover up.
Yeah, I want to do a panel discussion on that in the future about addiction and just use in general, because I drank a lot in the years before I actually came out, and I think that would be a very interesting panel discussion. So, and then I guess, well, I was gonna say, why did you come out? Like, what made you finally do it? But like you're saying, you really didn't like come out. What you were doing was you were just being you, and you're just like, hell with it. I'm just gonna say this
Yeah,
is my girlfriend because this is my girlfriend.
yeah,
You know.
but I had to get sober also to actually be able to say this is me.
Hmm.
I'm being authentic. I mean, because I made y- y- you know I I don't know what word am I looking for. Um, I made a pledge to myself, I guess, to be authentic. As I was going through the process of getting sober and staying sober, I made a pledge to myself to be more authentic in the things that I did and the things that I said and the people who I hung around with. And and realizing who I was and coming out was part of being authentic.
Hmm.
So instead of just staying alone my whole life. So
Those of you in the side chat that have any question for Dee, this is the time that you can put those in the side chat for her, and hopefully we have a few questions. That's one of the things that you always say on your channel, and it's actually back behind you on the wall. You always end that on your show to be authentic, and I think that's
mhm.
great. That's such a great mantra to live by, because a lot of us were not our authentic selves for so long, and I know I wasn't. And so I'm hoping that I will get some views on this channel by people who are thinking about coming out, but maybe they're a little bit leery, they're scared, that they can watch some of these stories and see that they are rocky. Some of the stories are extremely rocky, but in the end, there is a happy ending for the most part, and that it's worth it. And so if there's someone out there that watches this later, Dee, who's thinking about that they want to come out, do you have any, like, something to tell them that will make it worthwhile? Like, how's your life different now? Who's Dee now as opposed to hiding before? Like,
um I mean, I was always looking for something to make me happy, rather than just being happy about where I was. And I think that's another thing about staying authentic, because my life is all about trying to be, or about being happy, because that is the point of that is the only point in life, is to be happy. And my life, I mean, I can't complain about my life at all now. I mean, everything about it is, happy. I mean, I wasn't. I can't say I was looking for Linda to make me happy, but she does. Just having
I know
somebody
whenever
that
you talk about her, you just light up whenever you talk about her. It's awesome.
she's just like the best person in the world, and I can't believe I got lucky enough to find the best person. You guys can't even believe it. I mean, because you don't know her in person, but she's like the most kind. Um, I don't know. She's the kindest person on the planet, and she's just like the best. And I tell her that all the time. She's the best.
So, Upside Down Picker said, sometimes our kids change our paths. So interesting. So I'm going to go back again and ask you, what does Shelby think about all this? Is she close to you and Linda?
Oh yeah, yeah. She just got engaged last week, and he actually came and asked us permission
That's
first.
awesome. That's so awesome.
Both of us. But yeah, she calls us her two moms. Um, yeah, Shelby loves it. I mean, and that's how I raised Shelby. Too, is to be herself and to be authentic and accept people for who they are. Because you can't, you know, you can't change anybody. I mean, you can't change anybody but yourself. But
Craig says, I believe that everything happens for a
mm,
reason. She was placed in your reason. And Jennifer says, you're pretty great
well,
too, Dee.
I don't
Hi,
believe everything
Bumcrack
happens for a
Pickers
reason.
here.
But yes, she was placed in my path for a reason, even though I don't believe everything happens for a reason. Because some things happen for no freaking reason at all.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Bumcrack Pickers here.
Hi,
Okay, any
Bump
more,
Crack.
any questions for Dee before we go?
Me and my boring story.
No, this is not your boring story. This is not an hour show usually, so don't feel like we have to fill up an hour. It's not like a reseller show. I don't think I've ever gone over an hour, 45
Really?
minutes max probably. Yeah, because once you tell your story, I don't want to start talking about other things. I want people to just concentrate on your story because that's what this particular show is about, is you, Dee.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to know your and Linda's story, however you say that. And I'm a teacher and I can't even say it. I've always wondered, how you met and you have
Well,
this house and I don't know.
Linda's really artistic and she writes story. I mean, she's a writer and she's an artist and she's just like amazing. But so she's gonna write us an interesting coming out story. That it's more interesting than it was. Not a coming
Maggie,
out story, but a meeting story.
yeah. Do you feel like your mother's attitude was out of fear? Maggie asks.
I don't know because my mother is not somebody that I can talk to. But she would say a lot of pointed things. Like my brother was going through a lot of difficult things at one point, and she said, "That's because you gave up your religion." It's like, no, it's because he's having a bad time. I think sometimes religious people are fearful that they would be rejected by God and not go to heaven or whatever. Well, she needs to worry about herself. you know.
Well, I have one daughter who believes that I'm going to hell still, and she wants me to be in heaven with her when, in the future. So she's concerned about my future. So
That's.
I just
I
have to kind
mean,
of look at where she's coming from and just say, well, sorry,
that doesn't make any sense to me. But I know it makes sense to other people, but it makes no sense to me
Mhm,
because
mhm,
for me, heaven is right now.
mhm, mhm,
Heaven is happening right now
mhm,
because you guys would not believe how different my life is because just being authentic and finding the person that matches me or that I'm supposed to be with, because
mhm,
there's a couple people that I dated. You try to force it uh, to work, but it's not going to because it's not supposed to.
mhm,
But our energies just work together.
mhm.
You see people that you love.
When you see people that you love so happy and complete, that made me realize that we all should have someone to spend our lives with and love.
Mm.
And Valerie, I truly believe that once you have loved well, you can love again. You can find love again. I've seen that happen. I don't know how many times someone has been in a relationship or a marriage and it was just true love and a great relationship. And when one of those persons passed on, the other person actually went on and found another relationship and did just fine because it's like how to love and how to accept love. and you know a good thing when you see it. So Maggie says, yes, for me, love can never be wrong. Dawn says, be loving to the people in your life now. Tomorrow is not guaranteed.
That's exactly right, Don. And that's why I don't understand my mother, and I still don't understand her. And that's why that's why I was so pissed off when she did the same thing to Mercedes that she did to the rest of her, um, myself and my other siblings like 30 years before. It's like and that's why I was so angry at her, because she did the same damn thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Instead of like sitting her Mercedes down and saying, "Look, I don't understand. Just explain this to me," because Mercedes had no problem explaining herself, because that girl has a mouth on her. You would not believe it, but she kicked her out just like she did the rest of us, and I was so pissed about that. And it took me a while to
I'm
get
so
over
glad
it.
that you were there for her and could take her in. I know it was a real hassle and everything at times, but you were there for her. So Maggie says, my nephew's gay and my sister really struggled with it because she's very religious and was just so fearful for his eternal future. Yeah. You can't change people's views. That's what we're doing. We don't try to change my daughter's views. We just try to model ourselves and show her who we are and what we do. And I'm still not allowed to see the children alone or have them over or anything like that alone. I don't know what they think I'll do, but just corrupt them, So, and he's 1.5. Like, I don't really know
Oh my
how I
god!
could corrupt a 1.5-year-old, but oh well. So all I can just do is show them the good in us, and hopefully one day they'll figure it out. My other daughter has figured it out, so I don't know. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and close. And I thank you again, Dee, so much for coming here and telling us your story. I know it's a little nerve-wracking to come on public and talk about it. But hey, Deb, I didn't see you here.
I
Good to
forgot to
see you,
powder
Deb.
my face too. See, I'm all shiny.
All right. Well, everyone come back again. And I think next time, if we don't have an interview, I'm going to go ahead and just talk to some of you and see if you want to do a panel discussion some Monday night. So you came out late, but come back again. I'll see all of you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.